Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another manga review. And today we're going to be taking a look at Eden Zero Volume 13 from Hiro Mashima, which is the start of the Aoi Cosmos arc. But before I get into that, I just want to give you some recap from the last volume, which saw Shiki finally achieve his overdrive form, and with the help of Weiss, Hermit, and all the others, they defeated Draken Joe once and for all. In an epic battle, we got some great backstory of Weiss and his mother, and how his mother actually died at the hands of Draken Joe because, well, he's over 200 years old and had this device which sucked the life and energy from everybody. And as a result of that, Weiss's mother died at a young age, and countless other lives, I'm sure, died because of that. So you had Shiki and Weiss dealing the blows to Draken Joe, hand-to-hand combat. And then you had Hermit, Chris, and Amira from the Interstellar Union Army destroying the machine. And it was cool to see everyone pitch in, do something different to help out in the battle, and a lot of fun stuff there. And actually, I omitted the fact that Draken Joe is not actually dead. He was captured by the Interstellar Union Army and is in their custody in jail, I would assume. And I found that interesting because just the fact that they mentioned that, it makes me think that Draken Joe is going to return at some point, probably even more powerful than before. So write that down. So after the battle, Shiki decided he wanted to return to Granbell to pay respects to his grandfather's grave, the Demon King Ziggy. And our heroes made their way to Granbell only to find the whole planet in disarray, and it turns out that Ziggy is still alive as a result of Rebecca's Cat Leaper ability, her ether gear, which essentially is time travel shenanigans, allows her to travel through time, and because of that, the whole timeline is messed up. Ziggy is back now, but not a good guy, and he has the 4 Dark Stars, very powerful robots, at his side, ready to destroy all the humans and have robots reign supreme. So Ziggy was ready to kill Shiki and the gang until Elsie Crimson stepped in and protected our heroes and basically fended Ziggy off and sent him away. And actually, Ziggy has a spaceship himself called the Eden's One, which I thought was interesting. So it ended with Elsie saying, "Go past Dragonfall and you'll find your way in the Aoi Cosmos, and that'll get you closer on your search for Mother." So that's where we start with this volume, and let's take a quick look at the cover here with all our characters in their bathing suits, because, well, as you see, once we're in the Aoi Cosmos, there's a lot of water worlds, so we gotta have the sexy beach chapter and then eventually episode in the anime. And I love like all the different designs on their bathing suits. Like you have Homura, still have her same design that she always wears. You have Chris here with the headband as the ninja character he is. And just really cute stuff there. And then Clean, who you'll see her, she's an interesting character, that's for sure. But anyway, let's get right to it. So it starts making their way through Dragonfall, which essentially is a bunch of mechanical dragons guarding the borders. They're currently in the Sakura Cosmos, and they're making their way through to the Aoi Cosmos. And they find that all these dragons are destroyed, essentially. And they come to the conclusion that it must have been the Eden's One that destroyed them all, which contradicts Ziggy, who wants to recruit all the robots to help him destroy all the humans. But they find one of the dragons is still alive, chasing after them, and it turns into a few dragons chasing them. And everyone goes to their battle stations. You see Homura here, who is a swordswoman, so she can't really aim very well. And Chris takes over, like, I'm gonna shoot him down. Just the faces they make. And Clean and Homura are like buddies now, and she calls her Homerin, which I just find funny. And the two of them were fighting a few volumes ago, battling when Clean was part of the Element 4 and part of Draken Joe's team. And just the faces that they keep making at each other is some cute stuff. So everyone's using their ether gear abilities. You have Weiss, who uses Machina Maker, and he can power up the machines around him. Rebecca, of course, with Cat Leaper. Her leg gets really strong. She's like pushing the pedal to the metal. And they destroy all the dragons chasing after them. And of course, Shiki here can activate his overdrive, which turns his black hair white, and he grows these horns. And then he uses the super gravity cannon. And it's like this black hole that just sucks in all the dragons chasing after them. So they make their way through to the Aoi Cosmos. They see all the fish in space. And this giant fish, which kind of looks like the Monstro from Pinocchio, right? Wasn't that giant whale called Monstro in the Pinocchio movie? And they mentioned that this is the Poseidon Narrow Sector. So Xiaomei, the narrator, steps in and basically gives you the recap of what happened with Ziggy. So they're making their way through here, and then Rebecca has a flashback to Connor, how when they first came across him, he's piloting the Eden's 1. And after the whole battle was over, Rebecca was like, does anyone remember Connor? I'm like, no, we don't remember him. Only she remembers because of the time traveling. So Shiki's like, oh, what are you doing here, Jin? He doesn't even know that his name is Chris. Jin was just his code name. And basically they're tagging along because Clean still is suffering ailments from Draken Joe's machines, and they want to be healed by Sister. So they're making their way through here. And this is a cool scene too, because we've seen Witch. She's always wearing this helmet, and she finally takes the helmet off. And we see her without the helmet more often than not. And basically, there's a whole story here about like how Shiki's accepting of everybody. You know, the robots are sort of looked down on people as sort of as servants. And Shiki's like, oh, you robots, you all have hearts, you're my friends. And he sees them all as humans, because they're more than just robots. I mean, they've already traveled together so much and accomplished so many things that they're all family. So she takes her helmet off, which I thought that was a cute scene. And they're going through all the database, and they find that they're on the Fire Planet Red Cave. And it also mentions the name Poseidon Nero, and they look into the Poseidon Nero name, I guess, on their search on the internet or whatever. And it turns out that he's also a member of the Oration Sace Galactica, which of course Draken Joe is, Elsie is, although she's helped our heroes quite a bit already. So I don't know, is she really a bad guy? Maybe she's more of an anti-hero. So Mashima likes to throw around the Oration Sace quite a bit. There was a faction in Rave Master, a faction in Fairy Tail, and now a faction in Eden Zero. But it makes me wonder because, you know, we've seen these two. We've got the name drop of Poseidon Nero. I wonder if each member is covering a different Cosmo, right? Because he was in the Sakura Cosmos and Poseidon Nero's in the Aoi Cosmos. So obviously they're not all working together. It's just like a title to like the strongest bad guy of each Cosmo. And that's a silhouette of Poseidon Nero. And also, I missed this part here. Moscow using like his puns. What kind of mescoy are we getting into? The poor guy. So there's the silhouette of him. And then it cuts over to the Interstellar Union Army Commando Carrier. And this guy here, Justice. I forget these guys' names. His name is Justice. I think that one's name is Creed. And maybe his name was Victory. They all had like strange names like that. But basically they're saying, oh, Draken Joe's defeated now. That's one of the Oration Sace defeated. We're going to defeat them all. And I can't wait to kill Elsie, he says. So it cuts over to Colonel Jaguar, who summons Justice for a meeting. And you get a reveal here that they are part of the Oration Sace Interstellar. So all the Oration Sace in Mashima's books have been bad guys. So I guess, is this a good guy group? Because they're the Interstellar Army? I don't know. They kind of look like bad guys if you ask me, but we'll see what happens. So we have Cure, Jaguar, Holy, Feather, Eraser, and Justice. And people have said that Justice looks like Jalal, and you really see that when he powers up. He powers up his ether gear. He gets the same marking as Jalal. I wonder if his hair turns blue, because we've seen him in the anime. He has silver hair, and he mentions, that woman took everything from me. I will kill her with my 2 hands, referring to Elsie. So what the hell did Elsie do in his past? I'm sure it'll be revealed soon enough. So they make their way to the beach here for the sexy beach chapter. Everyone's in their bathing suits. You have these cute scenes of like Homura training, and Witch is sunbathing, and Weiss is like, oh, I'm going to lather you up with some sunscreen. And Witch is like, oh, well, I'm a robot, and I can just tan myself anyway. I'll just press this button and see her skin gets darker there. And Weiss is like, oh, did it work underneath your bathing suit? And she starts showing off to Weiss, and Sister's like, oh, you pervert. So all these cute little scenes, everyone playing, and Clean sees this, and she's like, brother, I want to go out and play. No, you won't associate with those crazy people. And she goes out there anyway, so you get all these, like I said, these cute little scenes. Like, look at their faces. Look at Homura's face. Look at Happy and Rebecca, their cute little face eating, what are they eating there? Well, Happy's eating a fish. I think she's eating like a fruit or something. Sister's riding Moscow like a surfboard. There's Clean, who's like really awkward, but cute nonetheless. When all of a sudden it starts raining, and Homura says it's a spectacular view. And this page is absolutely beautiful. I gotta see if this is in color somewhere, because it's absolutely gorgeous. Just, you know, I would imagine the whole sky, the rain coming down on the beach. Just beautiful, man. And so Homura said, what a spectacular view, right? And it shows her ass. And Weiss is like, oh, I agree. A truly spectacular view. And then she kicks him away. Oh my god, dude, hilarious. So Rebecca wants to see it up close and tells Shiki, like, would you use your ether gear and take a picture for me up there? He's like, oh, I'll take you with me. So he grabs a hold of her and they fly up in the sky. Again, another cute little scene. She takes a picture and it's just beautiful. So as all this is going on, they see a ship crash land into the ocean. And they're like, oh, let's investigate the ship. So Hermit luckily has a lacrima, which is a term from Fairy Tail. I gotta look for all these, now that I'm reading Fairy Tail, there's all these Easter eggs. I noticed there was an Easter egg in Fairy Tail as well about Rave Master. So there's all these Easter eggs from all those different works. I love it, man. So with the lacrima, they can breathe underwater. Although I don't know how the hell Happy and Pino can breathe underwater because they're robots. Wouldn't the water just fry their circuits? But Shiki, who his running gag, like similar to how Natsu has motion sickness, Shiki is afraid of bugs. And Weiss grabs a lobster and is like, it's a bug. And they're like, no, it's a lobster. It's still a bug. So they come across this spaceship, which they literally saw just crash land into the ocean. It's still steaming. And they open it and they find a corpse, a skeleton in there. So like, well, how the hell is the skeleton driving the ship and crashing it? Just beautiful, man. Again, I'd love to see this in color and how it's going to be animated once this is in the anime. Because Season 2 did get renewed. Although I don't know, it's going to go to the Dragon Joe arc probably. It'll probably end right before this part. So, again, look at this chapter cover here. Beautiful, man. Look at Rebecca. Holy shit. So, they're making their way through, and they see this temple, which is where they end up going. But before that, Rebecca finds an inscription on the ship that says, Nadia, love of my life. And they walk through to the temple, and they find all these robots that are, powered off, falling apart. Again, how do the robots function in the water? But that's beside the point. And Shiki's getting flashbacks to Granbell, to how all the robots were destroyed there. And then this giant octopus monster comes out, and it seems like every freaking volume, Rebecca's getting attacked by some tentacles. Anyway, that happens, and they're all trapped. Everyone except Shiki, anyway. And what Shiki does with his ether gear is gravity. He flies up into the air and uses his inertia to crash down and have the Kraken or whatever this thing is, the tentacle octopus monster, let go of them, and then they run to the temple. So as they run to the temple here, a robot approaches and says, this temple is protected by a special barrier. Still, it's been years since I've had a visitor. Welcome to the Temple of the Mother Beacon. I am its guardian, Nadia. And then Rebecca remembers the inscription in that spaceship. Nadia, the love of my life. So she's a robot here. Wise, always thinking like a true player. A total babe. So basically she's guarding an artifact of Mother's and has been here for over 200 years protecting the artifact. And basically, because it's them are robots, so are androids rather. And they're like, well, how are you 200 years old? And she's connected to this core that's powering her on because after all these years, it doesn't work anymore. Basically, she says you have to enter through here to find the artifact that'll lead you to the Mother. And that's exactly what they did. So they make their way through. But as we remember, it was called what was it called? The Fire Cave or the Red Cave? It's the fire planet, the Red Cave. And it's extremely hot. So you see they're all sweating as they make their way through there. Look at Homura's face. Homura is like so cute, man. All the female characters Mashra creates are just like the cutest. They have these funny personalities and mannerisms, especially Homura, who's like been established to be very awkward and sort of just like blurts out what she's thinking, especially in the earlier volumes. But they're making their way through, and Rebecca's bathing suit's burned it off because it's so hot. My skin's melting. So Shiki tells everyone to go back. And he decides to keep going, and see him running away. And then Shiki's like, I can't do it, so he runs back. And again, we got this fan service-y shot, and they're like, oh no, what are we gonna do? And they start asking where the hell Witch went. And Sister reveals that Witch went back to Blue Garden to find someone. And she's here at this theater again. Without the helmet. I like how they have her without the helmet now. And comes across this dude who was performing in the play or the opera or whatever it was. And Witch says, once I've made an enemy, I never stop tracking them. And the actor transforms. and to Laguna Husert, Spirit of Water. So if you remember, was part of the Element 4, working with Drock and Joe. But was also, you had Laguna, you had Clean, who's now a good guy. He's eventually going to become a good guy. You had the Fire character, and then you also had the Earth guy, and they were all bad guys. And he was the most compassionate. He was the one who didn't really, it didn't appear like he wanted to do bad things. So Witch has recruited him to help them with their endeavors. And they're learning a little bit of the lore about Mother and how these artifacts basically will guide someone to Mother the more artifacts you get. It sort of reminds me of like a JRPG plot. You have to find all the orbs, you have to go to all the temples, and then you'll fight the final boss. And Nadia here also recalls that she had a love named Andrew from over 200 years ago. So what happened, she's guarding this treasure. And it also gives power. It's like the source of all ether to all the robots of this planet. And it was stolen many years ago. And Andrew went out to find it, to bring it back. That's why she has this cord, so she continues to survive. Whereas all the other robots are powered off. And yeah, she's like, I'll be here when Andrew returns. And then Rebecca knows. Everyone knows, really. And Shiki's about to say something. And Rebecca's like, no, we can't spill the beans. Yeah, because he's going to say 200 years. Humans can't live for 200 years. She's a robot. Of course she can. And Rebecca's like, oh, that's so cute. So Witch comes here now with Laguna. And they're all like, what the hell is this guy doing here? I thought he was a bad guy. But no, he's going to help them. And Shiki's like, oh, are you my friend? And Laguna's like, I'll pass. All the like bad guys who sort of turned anti-hero good guys like Chris and now Laguna, Shiki wants to be friends with them, and they're like, oh, weirdo, I'm not going to be your friend. We're sworn enemies. So with Laguna's ether gear, he can essentially turn someone who cries into water. But before that, again, there's another fan service scene where it's so hot, and Witch's clothes burn off. And Witch says, well, I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. So what happens to make Shiki cry, Rebecca says, there's a bug on your shoulder. He starts crying, and he turns into water with Laguna's powers. And with that, he races down to the end of the trial and finds the ether. And it's like the spirit of Mother talking to him. Gives him a little piece of the artifact. And like I said, the whole JRPG sort of plot we have going on, we got to collect all the artifacts to find Mother. So that's exactly what happens. And again, they're getting ready to leave, and they talk about Andrew, and what happens is Witch actually spills the beans. She says, Lord Andrew is no longer with us, and Nadia is just beside herself. Lord Andrew left the planet over 200 years ago. It's not possible for a human to live that long. Oh, but he'd promised he'd come back. She doesn't understand that humans die, and I guess androids, if they're continued to be powered, they can continue to survive. So Witch found this chip in the ship. There's a stupid rhyme that I didn't intend to have. But there's a video from Andrew. And he says, hey, Nadia, how are you doing? I got the relic back. We're lucky the thief was just a small-time crook. And that I have a friend in the government. This should put everybody on the Red Cave back to normal. We won't need the cable anymore. I'm so close to the Red Cave now. It took a whole year. I'm so sorry. I love you. And then as he says that, it starts breaking up. And something hits his ship. And he was drifting in space. He was hit by a meteorite. And he was drifting in space for over 200 years. And as Nadia heard this and knows now that Andrew, his ship is close to Red Cave, she starts running after him and runs so fast that she rips the cord off of her and confronts Andrew's corpse. And just a very sad scene right here. I mean, just a minor character we just saw for a few chapters getting emotional over this. It's crazy, man. And again, another moral of the story, what I mentioned earlier, how Shiki sees the good in everybody, if they're robots, humans, whatever. And we have this quote from Witch here. The fact that you feel love for someone is proof that you do, proof that you have a heart. So I love it. So, and of course, what Andrew said, he has the artifact, and it's back now, and with the ether gear in it, powers everything back up to normal. All the robots that were destroyed are back to normal. And same thing with Nadia. She doesn't need the core to survive anymore. And it's just a beautiful scene there. Everyone's looking on. even Laguna, who, sort of reluctantly there, and just everyone's faces. You get this cute little scene here with Shiki and Rebecca right next to each other. Ah, love. I didn't mean it like that. He gets all nervous. I don't know. I mean, I think Rebecca likes Shiki. And Shiki, similar to that of Natsu, Lucy definitely likes Natsu. I don't know. Are they oblivious? What the hell's going on there? So anyway, and then this, tentacle octopus monster is seeing them off, and they're continuing on their journey. So a cute little end there. And then we got this cover here with all the chibi characters. I love it, dude. Look at Rebecca with the cat ears. That's the Eden's one up there. Oh, there we go. So they're continuing on their journey. And Weiss is mocking Laguna, who, like, when we first saw him, too, I think it was back in, like, Volume 8 or Volume 9, he appears to have lipstick on. And I don't know if he's, like, supposed to be, like, a gender fluid or gay or non-binary or whatever he is, but he's wearing stilettos. He's wearing high heels, and they're making fun of him for that. And Shiki says, come on, join the party. And they're all leaving. Laguna, Chris, and Clean, now that they're all healed, so they're like, oh, screw this, we're out of here now. So now they're continuing on their quest to find Mother, and it cuts over to Elsie here, who's thinking about what's going on with Ziggy. We got to amass our forces, and also thinking about justice. And then this dude here, who we've seen a few times, actually turns out to be a spy who was working with the Interstellar Army. And then we get names for these two characters, Goen and Hyuga, part of Elsie's pirate crew. And they're thinking that they should kill the dude, but it's like, no, maybe not. And again, Elsie is essentially Urza at it. Like the same thing, because here she's actually still missing an eye, but in Fairy Tail, Urza was missing an eye and had the eye patch on, and now has a false eye. These awkward characters all eating their noodles, and Clean's like, oh, why don't we go back with Shiki? I liked it better with that. They're like, shut up. So, anyway. They make their way here to the planet Foresta. And we meet these characters here who are working with Poseidon Nero, Brittany, Orc, and Mora. And their goal is to destroy all the bots, all the robots on this planet. Orders by Poseidon Nero. So they make their way to Foresta. And as they're going through here, they see that the robots have humans similar to that of pets. They're walking them on all fours. And it's some sick shit right here. You have these two humans who are coming across together. You have the one guy, the one robot, who's saying, I don't feed my robot, my human, I just kick him and it's my slave. And the other robot saying, you have to treat your human kindly. And then the two humans are talking. The guy says, Audrey, are you okay? I don't think I can go anymore. They're being tortured, man. They're being like stepped on and some crazy shit. And the one robot who was saying to be kind to your human gets shot. Bots are meant to be free. And everyone's like, what the hell's going on? Look at Happy's face. So our heroes deduce that this is because Ziggy got here first and enslaved all the humans, like his goal was last volume. And as one of the robots is coming across them, they saw him or heard him all screaming. You have Happy and Pino, which you can make the case that Pino is a robot, but do they really think that Happy is a robot? I know he is a robot, but he looks like a cat. And they're saying that, no, these are our pets. And the big robot's like, oh, you got too many humans. Give me one of those humans. And then, all of a sudden, after Shiki and Weiss attack him, we see this one, Couchpo, who was one of Rebecca's friends, one of the B-Cubers, who takes him into her secret base. And her B-Cube, Rebecca's B-Cube is the Oneki channel, the cat channel. Everyone has their own little thing, and her channel is basically like the food channel. And she decided to make her way to Foresta because it had all these great dishes. But she made her way here, and turns out that Ziggy was indeed the one who appeared first and started enslaving all the humans. And it ends on a cliffhanger with this robot attacking them all. And Shiki says, if he's going to hurt my friends, I have to take him down. So we get the cliffhanger right there. And, again, guys, I love this series. I'm reading Fairy Tail right now, too. I hope you guys are watching those reviews. And I don't know. I like the fact that I can binge read Fairy Tail, whereas with this I have to wait a little bit because volume 14 is not coming out until December. And I wonder, because the whole thing with my reviews, unless I specify, this is me reading it blind. I could theoretically read all the chapters now and get caught up because I think this gets, what does this get us up to? We're up to like 170 in the manga right now. This is up to 113. So there's like 50 other chapters, 55 other chapters to read. Otherwise, I'm going to be waiting like another year to get to that. But let me know in the comments down below if I should just read ahead. Although these reviews won't be like the blind reviews that I'm doing. But anyway, I loved it. I loved it, like, you know, the cute scenes we had with, like, you know, Witch and the beach scenes. Some fun stuff, man. A lot of great stuff. I highly recommend the series. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below if you're reading it. And stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Have a great day, everybody.